Imagine, if you will, just walking into your favorite local fast food joint.
Right. You're hungry, you've had a long day.
Exactly. So you step up to the brightly lit counter, your stomach is rumbling, and you ask for the most basic staple on the menu.
Standard signature hamburger and a hot side of fries, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then the cashier looks you dead in the eye and calmly explains that they are entirely sold out.
I mean, no hamburgers at all.
None. There are no fries either. The inventory is absolute zero.
Oh, wow. That is just a complete operational failure.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, you do the only logical thing a rational consumer would do in that situation.
Wait, logical.
Well, quote-unquote logical.
Yeah.
You demand a highly specific, totally off-menu chili dog.
Right, of course, because that makes perfect sense.
And when they inform you that they don't even serve chili dogs, you repeat your demand for a hamburger.
It is just a wonderfully absurd scenario.
It really is. So welcome, listener, to a very special deep dive. Today we are taking a uniquely gentle, very unhurried, and highly detailed journey.
Yes, we are going to look into the intricacies of customer service, workplace boredom, and some genuinely bizarre management solutions.
Exactly. We are slowly exploring a fascinating role-play transcript. And this is set entirely within the universe of a littlest pet shop fast food restaurant.
Which is such a fun, specific setting.
It is. We are going to look at a delightfully simple story of a catastrophic service failure, followed by a surprise project.
And we will be breaking all of this down into 3 easy-to-follow acts.
Okay, let's unpack this.
I am so thrilled we are tackling this specific text today. What is just so captivating about this transcript is how it distills massive universal themes.
Like retail burnout, right?
Exactly. Retail burnout, the absolute breakdown of interpersonal communication, and, the mechanics of employee motivation.
And it does all of that in a very short, very contained narrative.
It really does. But before we look at the first interaction, we have to establish the physical reality of this world. We need to meet our cast.
Oh, absolutely. The listener needs to be able to visualize this.
Right. So I am going to introduce them to you, listener, with a lot of specific, deliberate detail. I really want you to paint a vivid, colorful mental picture of each character.
So you can truly see them behind that fast food counter. Irony, set the scene for us. Who exactly is staffing this restaurant?
Well, we begin with our frontline worker. His name is Sunil Nevla.
Okay, Sunil Nevla.
Yes. Sunil Nevla is a worker stationed right at the cash register. And physically, Sunil is a fascinating genetic mix. He is a mongoose-collie hybrid.
Wait, really? A mongoose and a collie?
Yeah, let that sink in for a moment. You have a creature that possesses the lightning-fast reflexes and, the nervous energy of a mongoose.
I mean, combined with the loyal, sort of herding instincts of a collie, that is wild.
It is, and his coloring is really striking. He is entirely blue, but he features a distinct lighter blue chest marking.
Okay, so entirely blue with a lighter blue chest marking.
Right, and perhaps most importantly for his role in customer service, he has incredibly bright orange eyes.
Bright orange eyes, I can totally see that.
Yeah, and those bright orange eyes are going to convey a lot of exhaustion as our story unfolds.
A blue mongoose collie hybrid with bright orange eyes and a lighter blue chest marking named Sunil Nevla. I have that image locked in.
Perfect.
The nervous energy of a mongoose behind a cash register just makes perfect sense for a fast food environment. So who is working alongside him?
Next, we have another essential worker in the kitchen area. This is LPS Ladybug.
LPS Ladybug, okay.
She is a worker, and her physical form is quite specific. She is a bright red insect with stark black legs.
A bright red insect, black leg.
Right. She has a pale pink face, which provides a really soft contrast to her bright cyan eyes.
Cyan eyes, wow.
That's
very vibrant.
And on her back, she has light red elytra.
Wait, elytra, what are those?
Good question. For those who might not know, elytra are the hardened, protective wing covers that fold over a beetle's back.
Oh, right, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and her light red elytra are decorated with classic black spots.
So LPS Ladybug, the worker. She's red with black legs, a pale pink face, cyan eyes, and those light red elytra with the black spots.
You got it.
It is amazing to visualize a delicate ladybug trying to manage fast food orders. It adds a whole layer of physical comedy to the operation.
So who is the third member of the crew?
Our third worker is Gunther Moody.
Gunther Moody. Great name.
It is, right? Gunther Moody is a bright yellow-tan Persian cat.
A yellow-tan Persian cat.
Yeah, and what is highly specific and wonderful about Gunther is his origin. He is explicitly from the Generation 5 release era of these specific toys.
Oh, wow. Generation 5, that's a deep cut for collectors.
It really is. The Generation 5 era was known for slightly different plastic textures and specific eye styles. So Gunther is a Generation 5 worker, a Persian cat with a bright yellow-tan coat.
Gunther Moody, the bright yellow-tan Persian cat worker from the Generation 5 era. That is a brilliant piece of trivia. It really places him in a specific historical context within this universe.
Exactly. So that is our working staff, a mongoose collie, a ladybug, and a yellow-tan Persian cat. What an eclectic team. So who is running this place? Who is the manager?
Well, the management falls to the LPS Persian boss.
And the LPS Persian boss. Okay.
He is the owner and the manager of this establishment. He is also a Persian cat, just like Gunther, but his aesthetic is completely different.
So.
The boss is a cool, composed gray. His coat features very light airbrush details, which kind of gives him a somewhat premium, authoritative appearance.
Oh, I see. Airbrush details. Very fancy.
Right. He has a soft pink nose, matching pink paw pads, and distinct, really piercing purple eyes.
The gray LPS Persian boss, the owner and manager. Light airbrush details, a pink nose, pink paw pads, and purple eyes.
That's him.
He sounds exactly like the kind of manager who rarely steps out of the back office unless there is a major crisis.
You are absolutely right about his management style, as we will soon see. Finally, we have the catalyst for our entire narrative.
The customer.
Yes, the customer, and the customer is an LPS dachshund.
Okay, an LPS dachshund.
She is a brightly colored orange dog. She has a pink nose and really sharp green eyes.
An orange dachshund with a pink nose and green eyes. Got it.
Now, here's a fascinating trivia fact for you, listener, just to enrich your visual tapestry even more.
Oh, I love the trivia. Lay it on us.
If you were looking at the European Union release of this specific dachshund toy, she would actually feature brown ears and brown paws.
Wait, really? Brown ears and paws in the EU version?
Yeah. The regional variations are quite interesting. However, for the canonical reality of our story today, she is the standard orange dachshund with the pink nose and green eyes.
Okay, standard orange dachshund, pink nose, green eyes. She is the customer who is about to disrupt everyone's day.
Exactly.
So we have our entire cast set. We have our physical parameters. This gives us the perfect blueprint to move forward.
I agree. We have a very clear picture now.
So listener, the events we are about to explore are going to unfold in 3 very clearly defined sections.
Yes, 3 easy acts.
First, we will examine Act 1, which we are calling the service failure.
A very appropriate title.
Following that, we will move into Act 2, which covers the service recovery and an agonizing period we call the long lull.
The long lull is going to be incredibly relatable for anyone who has worked in retail.
Absolutely. And finally, we will conclude with Act 3, which focuses on the project work.
Yes, the mysterious project work.
So let us wade right into the tension of Act 1, the service failure. Set the scene for us again.
Okay, the scene opens directly at the front counter. Let us visualize the setting.
The bright fluorescent lights of the fast food restaurant.
Exactly. And Sunil Nevla, our blue mongoose collie hybrid worker with the light blue chest marking, is standing dutifully behind the register.
Right. And the orange dachshund customer approaches the counter.
The text reads with a very specific, completely uncapitalized casualness. Sunil's exact words are, "Welcome to the fast food restaurant. May I take your order?"
It is the ultimate, standard, totally scripted greeting.
Yeah, there is no enthusiasm, just the basic requirement of the job.
And the orange dachshund customer with the green eyes replies with a perfectly standard request. The text reads, "I would like a hamburger and fries, please."
Under any normal circumstance, this transaction would take 30 seconds.
Right, in and out. But here is where the foundation of the restaurant completely collapses.
Yes. Sunil Nevla, the worker with those bright orange eyes, has to deliver some devastating news.
Let me read his exact response. The text reads, "I am sorry, miss, but we ran out of hamburgers and fries. So I'm afraid you might have to order something else from the menu."
Wow.
I really want to stop and look at the gravity of this. This is not just a minor inconvenience.
No, not at all.
This is a catastrophic, systemic failure of the entire restaurant model.
Yes, listener, you have to realize that a fast food restaurant running completely out of hamburgers and fries is like a gas station running entirely out of gasoline.
Yes. The primary function of the establishment has just ceased to exist.
It is a severe inventory crisis. The stock is at absolute zero.
You really have to imagine the internal panic of Sunil, the blue mongoose collie hybrid.
Right, because he is a frontline worker. He does not control the supply chain.
Exactly. He does not order the meat or the potatoes, yet he is the one who has to stand there and absorb the shock of the customer.
He politely informs her that she must pivot her expectations, and choose something else.
But listener, this is where we witness a truly magnificent communication breakdown.
Oh, it is spectacular. The customer's response is just a masterclass in psychological denial.
The orange dachshund simply cannot process a reality where her desired outcome is impossible. Her exact words in the text are, "What do you mean you ran out? Can make or at least order some more."
It's wild. She treats the fast food kitchen as if it possesses an infinite magical void of resources.
Like he can just snap his fingers. She assumes that running out is merely a choice, and that Sunil can simply make more meat out of thin air.
Or order some more, right. As if a delivery truck is idling in the dining room waiting for her specific command.
It shows a complete disconnect from how logistics actually function in the real world.
So true. And Sunil realizes that logic is not going to win this battle. He tries to employ the standard escalation protocol.
Right, passing the buck. His exact response is, "I may have to call the owner of the restaurant to see what can we do about this."
He wants to pass the burden to management. He wants to bring out the gray LPS Persian boss with the purple eyes.
But the orange dachshund customer executes a truly bizarre mental pivot right here.
She totally ignores the offer of managerial assistance. Instead, she scans her own internal menu of desires.
Her exact words are, "Then do you at least have something like a chili dog?"
Let us examine the absurdity of that request for a second.
Please, because it is ridiculous.
Sunil just told her they are out of their core foundational items. A chili dog is a highly specialized, messy, complex item that requires, specialized ingredients.
Dilly, hot dogs, specific buns.
Exactly. Why would a restaurant that cannot even source a basic hamburger suddenly have an abundance of chili dogs?
Right. It is an amazing leap of logic. Listener, I want to use a highly playful comparison to illustrate just how bizarre this customer's motivation is.
Okay, I am ready for this.
Imagine you walk into a dedicated athletic shoe store. You march right up to the salesperson, and you confidently ask to purchase a large, hot pepperoni pizza.
Okay, a pizza in a shoe store. Got it.
The salesperson, looking very confused, politely informs you that this is a shoe store, they only sell footwear, and they have absolutely zero pizza.
Which is undeniable reality.
Right. And your response to that undeniable reality is to say, well, then do you at least have a taco?
That is the perfect analogy.
It highlights the sheer stubbornness of the customer. She is entirely motivated by her own craving, completely regardless of the physical environment she is standing in.
She is literally demanding a taco in a shoe store.
She is demanding a chili dog in a burger joint that just confessed to having an empty pantry.
And Sunil Nevla, doing his absolute best to maintain his professionalism, tries to ground her back in reality. The text reads, "We don't have those things you call chili dogs. You're going to have to order something else."
I find his phrasing there incredibly revealing. Those things you call chili dogs.
Yeah, it sounds almost alien to him. As a mongoose collie hybrid, the very concept of a chili dog seems entirely foreign to his understanding of the menu.
But the orange dachshund customer with the pink nose is not deterred by his confusion at all, or the reality of the menu for that matter.
Not even a little bit. She doubles down. Her next line is a complete repetition of her impossible desires. She says, "I just want a chili dog or a hamburger and fries."
We have reached a total impasse here. The communication has utterly failed.
The real failure of Act 1 is not the lack of beef or potatoes, listener. The real failure is the absolute breakdown in active listening.
Sunil feels entirely unheard.
Right. The customer is trapped in a closed loop of her own demands, completely ignoring the data being presented to her.
And this brings us to the emotional peak of the frustration. Sunil Nevla, our blue worker with the letter blue chest marking, finally hits his breaking point.
He does. His exact words on the page are, "I'm calling the owner right now, cause you're not listening to me."
He diagnoses the exact root of the conflict. "Cause you're not listening to me."
It is a surprisingly vulnerable thing for a fast food worker to say out loud. He is exasperated not by the work itself, but by the psychological wall the customer has put up.
And does the orange dachshund show any empathy for his frustration?
Yeah, absolutely none.
Her exact words in response are, "Oh, goody, hurry up and get him, please. I just want a chili dog or a hamburger and fries to go."
She literally repeats the exact same impossible demand for her.
Nice to go. Sunil's just out of options.
The blue mongoose collie hybrid cannot reason with the orange dachshund. The worker-customer contract has been fundamentally broken.
You need outside intervention.
Which gracefully transitions us into Act 2.
Yes, Act 2, the service recovery and the long lull. This is the moment where management finally steps out of the shadows.
The transcript provides us with a really clear action line here to set the stage. The text reads, LPS Persian #263 walks over to LPS Dachshund #2597 and Sunil.
The authority figure has arrived on the scene. Let us remind you, listener, exactly who this is.
Yes, this is the LPS Persian boss.
He's the owner and the manager. He's a gray cat.
He has those premium light airbrush details, a pink nose, pink paw pads, and very calm purple eyes. He projects a total aura of control.
His opening line to the chaotic scene is perfectly measured. He says, "Did someone call me?" What seems to be the problem here?
He asks for a status report. Sunil Nevla, our exhausted blue worker, eagerly explains the nightmare he is trapped in.
He says, well, you see, we ran out of hamburgers and fries, and the customer refuses to listen, so I don't know what to do.
Notice how Sunil's primary complaint is not the missing food. His primary complaint is the behavioral failure of the customer.
The customer refuses to listen. That is the core issue for him.
And the boss, the gray Persian cat, absorbs this emotional data and decides to step right into the line of fire. He says, oh, I see, let me try to talk to the customer. Maybe they will listen to me.
He believes his managerial status will command more respect than the frontline worker.
Right. And listener, I want to use another playful comparison to really help you visualize the dynamic here.
And please, these comparisons are so helpful.
Picture a highly chaotic, completely muddy sports field.
Okay, a muddy sports field.
The players are yelling, the fans are throwing things. Everything has basically broken down into a messy argument.
Complete chaos.
Suddenly, a veteran referee calmly steps right onto the center of the field. He doesn't yell. He just smoothly walks out, blows his whistle with a short, sharp trill, and instantly restores order just by his pure presence.
Oh, I see.
The gray LPS Persian boss is that veteran referee. He is cool, he is collected, and those purple eyes see a path to a compromise that Sunil was just too stressed to perceive.
Well, let us look very closely at the path to compromise the boss takes. Because, quite frankly, it is deeply weird.
Oh, it is profoundly strange.
The boss turns his attention to the orange dachshund customer. His exact words to her are, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, miss. You might have to order something else because we ran out of hamburgers and fries. But we do have hamburger-flavored bones and cake. Would you want one?
Hamburger-flavored bones and cake.
I really have to stop and marvel at the sheer bizarre nature of this menu pivot. It is just magnificent.
It really is.
Think about it from a human perspective, listener. You go to a drive-thru, you ask for a burger, and the manager leans out the window and says, we are out of burgers, but I can offer you a hard, calcium-rich bone that tastes vaguely like a hamburger, plus a slice of cake.
It is completely unhinged.
It really is. But, and this is why the setting is so crucial to remember, when you realize that this is the Littlest Pet Shop universe, it suddenly makes perfect, flawless sense.
Right. They are pets running a restaurant for other pets.
Exactly. Of course, their emergency backup inventory consists of flavored bones. It is a brilliant, surreal detail that just anchors the story in its own unique reality.
It is a wonderful example of highly specific world building. The boss is using the unique inventory he actually possesses to bridge the gap between what the customer wants and what is actually possible.
He provides a flavor profile she requested, which is hamburger, but in a structurally different format.
A bone.
Right. And how does the stubborn orange dachshund customer react to this highly unusual compromise?
Well, her exact words are, sure, as long if it's good, I'll take it.
Just like that, the conflict just evaporates.
It's amazing. She goes from being an immovable wall demanding a chili dog to cheerfully accepting a flavored bone and a piece of cake in a fraction of a second.
It is honestly whiplash-inducing.
But, you know, she is a savvy consumer. She realizes she has the upper hand here because of the severe delay and the inventory failure.
So she decides to extract a little more value from this situation.
Exactly. Her exact words in the text are, I would also like to have a discount for not having my hamburgers and fries and making me wait this long.
She wants the bone, she wants the cake, and she wants financial compensation for her emotional distress. She is absolutely relentless.
And the gray LPS Persian boss, who clearly just wants to clear the lobby and get back to his quiet office, simply surrenders to her terms.
He says, sounds like a plan. Your food should be ready in a few minutes.
This moves us right into the delivery phase of Act 2. The script utilizes a very clear time jump here to show the passage of effort.
The text reads, 10 minutes later.
10 whole minutes.
Listener, in the fast food industry, a 10-minute ticket time is an absolute disaster.
Right, that is an eternity to wait in a fast food lobby. What on earth was happening in the kitchen for 10 whole minutes?
Let us remind the listener who is actually responsible for the kitchen prep.
It is LPS Ladybug, the red insect worker.
Picture this red bug with her black legs, her pale pink face, her cyan eyes, and her spotted elytra, just struggling to prepare a bone and a piece of cake for 10 full minutes.
I mean, perhaps the cake required intricate icing, or perhaps the bone needed to be heated to a specific temperature.
Whatever the case, it was a massive labor investment on her part.
Finally, she emerges. The text says, LPS Ladybug, #629. Here you go, miss, a hamburger bone and cake to go.
The action line reads, LPS Ladybug, #629, hands the bag of food to LPS Dachshund, #2597.
Now, after 10 minutes of intense labor by the ladybug, you would hope for a modicum of gratitude.
You would hope so. But the orange Dachshund customer remains entirely transactional and, frankly, somewhat rude.
Her response is, it's about time now, I gotta go and enjoy my food.
It's about time. A really stinging rebuke to the hardworking ladybug.
The transaction concludes with an action line. LPS Dachshund, #2597, hands them the money.
Which is immediately followed by her final parting shot, thanks for the discount.
And just like that, the demanding orange dachshund with the green eyes vanishes from the restaurant.
The crisis is finally over. The gray LPS Persian boss with the purple eyes successfully negotiated a peace treaty.
The service recovery is technically a success, right? Even if it costs them a discount and 10 minutes of exhausting labor.
However, resolving that massive spike in adrenaline leads our workers directly into a massive crash.
This brings us to the second half of Act 2, which we call the long lull.
The rush is over. The lobby is empty. The silence in the restaurant just becomes deafening.
The transcript shows a stark, immediate shift in the psychological state of the employees.
Sunil Nevela, our blue mongoose collie hybrid worker, who was just moments ago fighting for his life against a stubborn customer, now faces a completely different enemy.
He says, man, I'm so bored. Can I go home now?
The adrenaline has evaporated, leaving only pure exhaustion.
And Gunther Moody, our bright yellow-tan Persian cat worker from Generation 5, who has been completely silent during the entire crisis, finally speaks up to agree.
He says, me too. I'm also bored. I want to go home as well.
And LPS Ladybug, the red insect worker with the cyan eyes who spent 10 minutes preparing a bone, validates their feelings entirely.
She says, I know, right? It's been so long since someone came in to order something.
This is a really profound look at the psychological concept of bore-out in the workplace.
Bore out. Not burnout, but bore out.
Exactly. We talk a lot about burnout, which obviously comes from overwork, but bore-out comes from a complete lack of meaningful tasks.
Without customers to serve, without inventory to manage, the flow of time just completely dilates for these workers. Every minute literally feels like an hour.
Their motivation to remain in this brightly lit, empty room drops to absolute zero. They are physically trapped with no intellectual stimulation.
The crushing weight of the boredom forces them to actually take drastic action. They formulate a mutiny.
Sunil Nevela suggests, I have a great idea, let's leave.
And Gunther Moody, the Generation 5 yellow-tan Persian cat, is fully on board with abandoning his post. He says, honestly, that's not a bad idea. Let's do it.
The script provides a very tense action line here. It reads, all the workers heading out to the exit door, then LPS Persian, #263, the boss, stops them.
They attempt to sneak out, but the gray LPS Persian boss with the pink paw pads is just too observant.
He catches them right at the threshold. His exact words to halt their escape are, not so fast where you think you're going, huh?
LPS Ladybug tries to use some nervous humor to diffuse the tension. She says, so we were thinking about leaving early since no one is coming.
But the boss is a manager who understands the unpredictability of retail. He shuts down their mutiny immediately.
He says, sorry to burst your bubble, looks like someone is coming.
And the action line reads, LPS Dachshund, #2597, walking inside the store.
It is the exact same orange Dachshund customer. She has returned.
It is like a recurring nightmare for the workers.
Her exact words upon re-entering are, hello.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you finally restock. I still want my hamburger.
It is literally the myth of Sisyphus playing out in a littlest pet shop.
Sisyphus pushes the boulder up the hill, it rolls back down, and he has to start all over again.
The worker survived the dachshund once, and now they have to face her exact same demand all over again.
But Gunther Moody, the bright yellow-tan Persian cat worker, takes the lead this time. He bluntly tells her, "Sorry, we don't have any hamburgers in stock."
And with remarkable speed, the orange dachshund customer simply gives up. She says, well, I'm out of here, see ya.
She turns around and leaves instantly.
That brief, seemingly pointless return perfectly encapsulates the misery of the lull. The only stimulation they receive is a customer asking for the one specific item they still do not possess.
It reinforces their feeling of total uselessness. They are trapped in a stagnant environment.
They are deeply, profoundly unmotivated, practically vibrating with boredom, and they want nothing more than to escape to their homes.
It paints an incredibly vivid, relatable picture of retail misery. Just staring at the clock, waiting for the shift to end.
It really does.
But listener, just when the morale is at its absolute lowest point, the story executes a massive, sharp turn.
This brings us to our final section, Act 3, the project work.
The text provides a very clear change of scenery here. It reads, "Scene shifts to the manager's office, and LPS Persian #263 got a phone call."
We move away from the depressing front counter and enter the inner sanctum of the gray LPS Persian boss, the owner with the purple eyes.
The phone rings. The text reads, "LPS Persian #263 answering the phone. Hello. How can I help you today?"
No, the transcript does not give us a name for the caller. It simply identifies them as phone person.
The exact dialogue from this mysterious phone person is, "I was wondering if you're willing to help us with a little project."
This is a monumental shift in the narrative. Think about the context, listener.
Right. The gray LPS Persian boss is currently managing an entirely empty restaurant. His core inventory is completely depleted.
His entire staff just tried to walk out the front door because they are so desperately bored.
And suddenly he is offered a lifeline. A mysterious, undefined little project from an outside source.
He does not hesitate. He eagerly, desperately accepts the offer. His exact words are, "Why, yes, we don't mind at all. Thank you so much."
It is a massive leap. He transforms from a fast food manager into a freelance project consultant in the blink of an eye.
The action line propels us forward, scene shifts back to the front desk, and LPS Persian #263 walks over to the workers.
The boss marches out to the front counter to address his deeply demoralized staff.
He looks at Sunil, the blue mongoose collie hybrid, Gunther, the yellow-tan Persian cat, and LPS ladybug, the red insect. He tries to inject some much-needed enthusiasm into the room.
His exact words are, "Great news, everyone who get to help someone with a little project woohoo."
He actually says the words woohoo. He is practically vibrating with relief.
But Sunil Nevla, our blue mongoose collie hybrid worker with the bright orange eyes, is not buying the fake enthusiasm at all.
No, Sunil's completely burnt out. His exact response is, "A project you say sounds boring. Can we just go home?"
Sunil becomes the voice of the collective workforce here. He strips away the corporate cheerleading and states the plain truth. They are exhausted and they want to leave.
This is the ultimate test for the gray LPS Persian boss. How do you manufacture motivation in a team that has completely mentally checked out?
He cannot offer them the joy of making hamburgers because they have none. He cannot offer them the thrill of customer interaction because the only customer they have is terrible.
So he deploys the most powerful primal tool in the entire management arsenal.
The boss says exactly this. "If you help, I pay you doubled and you get."
If you help, I pay you doubled. The text actually cuts off mid-sentence after "and you get," leaving the promise of double pay hanging in the air as the massive, overwhelming focus of the negotiation.
And what is the immediate, visceral reaction to this financial incentive?
The text uses a very specific formatting choice here to show their synchronization.
It reads, Sunil LPS, LPS 3761, and LPS Ladybug, #629. At the same time we're in. When do we start?
They speak in absolute unison. The transcript implies that Gunther is swept up in this as well.
The blue mongoose collie hybrid, the red ladybug, and the yellow-tan Persian cat all instantly abandon their exhaustion and say at the exact same time, we're in. When do we start?
It is a fantastic moment.
It really is. Listener, I want to use a final playful comparison to help you feel the sheer energy of this shift.
Oh, I love these. Go ahead.
Imagine you have a very sad, drooping houseplant sitting in the corner of your room.
Okay, a sad, drooping houseplant.
Its leaves are brown, it is slouched over, it is practically dead.
That dying plant represents the workers trying to sneak out the door, right?
Exactly. Now imagine someone taking a massive high-pressure fire hose and blasting that sad little plant with thousands of gallons of life-giving water.
Oh, wow. A fire hose of water.
The plant doesn't slowly recover. It instantly shoots straight up, turns vibrant green, and blooms into a massive flower in one single second.
That is such a striking image.
That is exactly what happened to our characters. They went from utterly crushed by bore-out to wildly, intensely enthusiastic in exactly 1 second.
Double pay is the ultimate fire hose of motivation.
It truly is.
That is a phenomenal, highly accurate visualization of their psychological state. Let us carefully reiterate the sequence of events that brought us to this climax, listener, so the structural elegance of the story sits gently in your memory.
Yes, let's review the sequence slowly.
It goes exactly like this.
How?
First, the primary service failed because the restaurant lacked core inventory.
Second, the workers descended into crushing bore-out because they lacked customers.
Third, the gray boss intercepted a mysterious request for project work.
Fourth, the Bond weaponized financial incentives by offering double pay.
And finally, the worker's motivation was instantly resurrected. It is a perfectly balanced, simple narrative arc.
It is deeply satisfying to trace that line of cause and effect. Now, listener, because we have been taking this journey so slowly, and because we have been continuously repeating the wonderful specific details of our cast, we want to gently pause the narrative flow here.
Yes, we are going to play a relaxing, slow-paced knowledge retrieval game directly with you.
This is a wonderful opportunity to solidify the mental tapestry we have woven together. We want to see how clearly these characters are standing in your mind's eye.
Exactly. Here is how we will do this. The host will ask a highly specific question about the characters we have spent the last hour analyzing.
I will then pause for a few seconds. During that pause, I want you, listener, to search your memory and visualize the answer.
Take your time. We are in no rush at all. Then, I will provide the correct answer clearly and simply. Let us test our recall.
Question 1. Who exactly is Sunil Nevla? Think about his specific animal makeup and his physical colors.
Sunil Nevla is our primary frontline worker at the fast food restaurant. He is a highly unique blue mongoose collie hybrid. He features a lighter blue chest marking, and he views the world through bright orange eyes.
Excellent visualization. Let us move to question 2. Who is the specific character that possesses red elytra and cyan eyes?
That specific combination of traits belongs to LPS Ladybug. She is the worker who labored in the kitchen for 10 minutes. She is a red insect with a pale pink face, black legs, and light red wing covers adorned with black spots.
Perfect. Question 3. We discussed a very specific toy release era for Gunther Moody. What is his species, his color, and his release era?
Gunther Moody is a worker who represents the Generation 5 release era of these toys. He's a Persian cat, specifically distinguished by his bright yellow-tan coat.
Spot on. Question 4. Think about the authority figure. Who is the gray character with the purple eyes?
The gray character is the LPS Persian boss. He is the owner and manager of the restaurant. His authority is visually represented by his light airbrush details, his pink nose, his pink paw pads, and those calm purple eyes.
In our final challenge, question 5. What specific species and color was the highly demanding customer who caused the initial crisis?
The demanding customer who refused to listen was an orange dachshund. She has a pink nose and sharp green eyes.
I hope you enjoyed that mental exercise, listener. It is deeply rewarding to realize how much specific detail your brain can absorb when we simply slow down and pay attention to the text.
It really is.
Now, as we transition toward the conclusion of our relaxing deep dive, we are going to perform a formal, gentle structural review of this roleplay transcript. It is time for the audio overview and review.
Yes, let us step back and look at the architecture of the story itself. I think we must begin by discussing the pacing of the narrative.
Oh, the pacing. We definitely need to talk about that.
Because, listener, while we have luxuriated in the details today, the actual pacing of the written transcript is incredibly frantic.
It is breakneck speed. Think about the emotional whiplash of the characters. Did it feel a bit too fast to be realistic? I definitely think so.
Look at the orange dachshund customer.
Right. She went from being an immovable wall of rage, demanding a standard fast food hamburger, to suddenly cheerfully accepting a hamburger-flavored dog bone and a piece of cake in the space of about 3 sentences.
That is a massive, almost impossible psychological leap to make so quickly.
Exactly. The pacing sacrifices emotional realism for plot momentum.
We see the exact same phenomenon with the workers at the very end. The transition from them being so crushed by boredom that they attempt to walk off the job to them unanimously screaming their enthusiasm for a mysterious project happens in exactly one line of dialogue.
The author clearly prioritized getting to the punchline over exploring the gradual shift in their mood.
But honestly, while the pacing is wildly fast, it is actually my favorite part of the entire transcript.
Wait, really? The fast pacing is your favorite part?
Specifically, that final synchronized chorus where the blue mongoose collie, the yellow-tan Persian cat, and the red ladybug all instantly change their minds and speak at the exact same time because of the promise of double pay.
Oh, yes. That is brilliant comedic timing.
It is funny because deep down, it is highly realistic to the human experience. Double pay will cure bore out faster than anything else on Earth.
It is a very strong, cynical, and humorous ending. However, in the spirit of a balanced review, we must discuss what we did not like about the text.
If we look critically at the interactions, I would point out the severe unpleasantness of the customer.
The orange dachshund.
Right. Her absolute refusal to listen to Sunil Nevla, who was clearly just a powerless worker caught in a bad situation, was genuinely frustrating to read.
To demand a discount when the workers are clearly suffering from a systemic failure they cannot control shows a complete lack of empathy.
She is the ultimate nightmare customer, which leads us to the constructive part of our review.
How would we improve this story? If you were consulting for this fast food restaurant, what is the one thing they desperately need to fix?
Well, the most glaringly obvious improvement is operational. The restaurant must prioritize restocking their core inventory.
Yes, you cannot operate a fast food hamburger restaurant without hamburgers and fries. It is a fundamental failure of their business model.
It really is that simple. In fact, I like to imagine that the mysterious little project the boss accepted at the end of the script is literally just paying his employees double to drive to the local grocery store and buy huge bags of frozen burger patties and french fries.
Oh, that is hilarious. That would logically solve every single problem they face that day.
A very practical, grounded theory. But if we pull all of these critiques together and ask the final question, is the writing and the story ultimately okay?
What do you think?
I believe we have to conclude that it is highly successful. The writing is simple, yes, but it is incredibly charming. It fulfills its purpose as a role-play skit perfectly.
I completely agree. It provides a crystal clear three-act structure. We have a distinct beginning with the service failure, a meandering middle with the bizarre recovery and the agonizing lull, and a sharp, funny conclusion with the new project motivation.
It gives us vivid character dynamics between a stressed mongoose collie, a hardworking ladybug, a stoic gray Persian manager, and a wildly demanding orange dachshund.
It works on every level it intends to.
It serves as a delightful, low-stakes window into a highly imaginative, chaotic little world.
So after dissecting every line, every motivation, and every character trait, what does this all mean for us?
That is the big question.
Listener, as we close our session today, I want to leave you with one final, gentle, lingering question. Something for you to ponder as you step away from this deep dive and back into your own life.
And think about the catalyst of Act 3. Think about the phone person.
The text never reveals their identity. Who is on the other end of that line calling a completely broken, out-of-stock fast food restaurant?
And more importantly, what exactly is this mysterious little project that specifically requires the unique combined talents of a blue mongoose collie hybrid, a red ladybug, and 2 Persian cats to complete?
What kind of work are they about to do?
It is a beautiful, open-ended mystery. Your imagination can run absolutely wild considering the possibilities of what those 4 specific pets are going to accomplish for double their usual rate of pay.
Thank you so much, listener, for joining us on this uniquely slow, deeply analytical, and relaxing journey today. It has been an absolute pleasure to explore the hidden depths of the simple story alongside you.
Remember to keep questioning the narratives around you, keep visualizing the vivid details of your world, and keep exploring the fascinating motivations of the people you interact with every day.
We will see you on the next deep dive.